August. Howard Bender, a.k.a. Roto Buzz Guy, is here to help you get through Thursday on Getting Buzzed. And now, please welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Howard Bender.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys tuning in for Getting Buzzed, brought to you by, Howard Bender and the Fantasy Alarm team. Also, our friends over at the Better Sports Network for helping make this happen. Wow. I mean, what a week it's been. It's been absolutely crazy. It's been insane. We've got an amazing show planned for you here today, bringing in a good friend of mine. You guys know him from CBS Sports. You also know him from the Pick Six podcast that's on CBS Digital. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Brinson going to join us here today. A lot of ground to cover with Will. He's a big NFL guy. He's a big NFL betting guy. I also happen to socialize with Will in a fantasy football league. And, I guess you probably wouldn't believe it, but he also likes the band Phish, and that's actually kind of how we met. We'll talk about all of that later on as we go. We're also going to have our final five at the tail end of the show, so appreciate you guys coming in here, joining us at the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. Hit that like and subscribe button, baby. Make sure that you take care of that. Give me like a little thumbs up and lend your support here. So, wow, so much going on here. I see every people in the chat. We actually might need you in the chat a little bit later, so stand by. Michelle, the next show, Alarm Fantasy Football, that's where you go for your start sits. Andrew Cooper and I will be on Alarm Fantasy Football after this show. We're not a start sit show here. We will talk some NFL. We will talk some betting, but alas, your lineup questions coming in there. Fatty McFats, happy Tuesday to you, my friend. Gabe the Babe, I appreciate you being here, brother, as much as you appreciate all that I do here. Thank you so, so much. So, one of the big stories that popped up this week, and this is kind of where I want to start through everything, because, one of the things that I've talked about here, on the show, I think a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, I talked about, taking a little something for yourself, right? Having some fun. We always get so crazy. We always get so hyped up, whether we got bets riding on something, our fantasy football teams are going bonkers. You're playing a DFS lineup, whatever it is, we need to have a little fun. And, kind of what I'm enjoying right now is the fact that the executives for all the leagues, especially the TV executives, are starting to embrace the fans a lot more. And so we've seen a whole bunch of stuff. Now, the situation with the Chargers that went down here, right? There it is on that. Big shout out to Adam Bernard, my producer. Adam, what's up, brother? Good to have you here. You can just be the voice from above for right now.
How we doing? How we doing?
We doing pretty good. We doing pretty good. Poor Merrianne Do, right here. Diehard Chargers fan, apparently, was featured on the Monday Night Football broadcast. And then, they kept going back to her and watching her, and she was just all crazy. Like, you could see her right there in that first picture. She was like intense. But then what happened the next day, or maybe it even started like that night, was all of a sudden everybody, and maybe this is just us, maybe this is just our society now, we have grown to become naturally skeptical. What we see is not necessarily what we believe. And listen, I understand that. Be a free thinker, think for yourself, kind of go through it. But it kind of bummed me out a little bit, just in the fact that was like our first quick jump on that. It was like, oh no, she's a plant. Look, she's sitting in a suite. They keep focusing in on her. She's overly animated. The people around her aren't overly animated. When something good happened for the Chargers, she wasn't high-fiving everybody around her. And suddenly, like, that became the whole, she's a plant. She's a plant. It's terrible. It's, the Chargers are the secondary market in Los Angeles behind the Rams, apparently. There aren't enough Chargers fans. The move from San Diego left everybody out in the cold, so to speak. I don't know if you could say 78 and sunny in San Diego on a regular basis is cold, but You know what I'm talking about there. So we kind of went through like, everything, all the motions. She was on Pat McAfee's show, explaining that she's not a plant, that she is a diehard fan. And, as that was going on, like, why can't we just embrace that? Why can't we just embrace the fans, embrace the funny stuff that we see on the TV broadcast, embrace the funny stuff that you see inside the stadiums? I mean, there's some unbelievable stuff. So for today's show here, for my opening monologue, whatever you want to call it, to me, it's all about the fans. Right. And that's what we want to do, for better or for worse, good and bad. I want to show some of my favorite videos that we've now seen recently, brought to light here to celebrate what goes on in the stadium crowd. So the first one here, we're going to start off on the downside here. We're going to do a little bit of negative because this woman, right? I mean, this little girl was like waiting. The ball player is about to throw her the ball, make her all happy. Here's your souvenir. And watch what happens with this woman here. High five. There you go. Oh, we're at the tail end of this video. This poor girl's, there we go. Ball thrown, intercepted, yanked out of the little girl's hands by this lady. Yanked. Look at that. Bam. So brutal, so awful. And she's like looking at this woman being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she like walks up. People are abusing this older woman now for doing it. I saw Matthew Berry tweeted something out, and I'll say this as well. MLB, find this poor little girl. Find this the moment during the game. Get this little girl a souvenir, because man, that was a bummer. It's so funny. Adults versus kids when it comes to like autographs and souvenirs and things like that. I'll say this. Defer to the children, please. I mean, I get it. You got this memorabilia. You got this ball thrown to you. What are you gonna do? What's this lady gonna do with this ball? She's not getting it autographed. She's clearly not going to sell this thing on eBay or anything like that. Give it to the little kid. How do you yank it out of her hands? It's absolutely bonkers to me. I mean, this isn't like Tyreek Hill, trying to hand the ball to his mom and then everybody jumps on that dude. They're like, ah, right? He's giving it to his mom. This is like a grown ass woman yanking a ball away from a little kid. So shame on you, lady. For the other guy, come on. My next favorite fan video here, and you got to shout it out to one of the classiest dudes in Major League Baseball, Joey Votto. Watch this. This little girl wants to do a TikTok video with Joey Votto. And what does he do? He sees it. He works with her. They start choreographing things back and forth. Votto knows. Votto gets it. Look at this. They're doing the gritty. They're feeling really good about it. They're recording the whole, that's what it's all about. It's all, look at her. Look at this little girl doing the gritty there. Joey Votto doing the gritty. Like, he's making this girl's millennia, right? This is something that she's going to absolutely remember. I don't know. Listen, if you go to the YouTubes, just go Google, or go YouTube, all Joey Votto videos. That dude is class personified. Always in it for the fans, always in it for the gag, has a ton of fun doing it. And I love that. Next video, I'm going to shout out. This is one of my all-time favorites. Like, I don't know if you can appreciate that when you're at the game, you're not at the game. We see it in the videos here. Call me a hapless romantic. Call me a sucker for a good time. But I love me the kiss cam. I do. The kiss cam is without a doubt the absolute best. Kissing a beer, not kissing her guy. Well, we're on TV. Come on, come smooch me. Come smooch me. What? Do you? Oh, and he breaks her tooth. Unbelievable. Now she's bleeding, and now she's embarrassed. Way to go. Oh, couple of ladies out here. Oh! I don't even know what that was. I didn't want to know what that was. I do know what that is. You motorboating son of a bitch. Look at you go. The kiss cam. It's probably one of the most entertaining things at the ballpark. I've seen people hold up signs, be like, "This is my sister." I've seen, people getting into it. It's without a doubt, it's like the most fun at the ballpark. Like that's what it's all about. It's about you being there, you having time, having a good time over there. Speaking of a good time, this next one here, I got to give it up for this kid. This kid is smart, he's savvy, and he's slick. Watch what he does in this video here, right? Got the ball. He tosses it to the kid. Kid puts it in his glove, turns to the smoking hot lady behind him and does that. But watch this. Tosses the ball, has the ball in his mitt, hands the girl another ball, a different baseball, not the souvenir that he got. So not only is this kid trying to mac on this older woman for himself and having himself a good time, but he was smart and slick enough to switch the baseballs and not give away the actual souvenir. Like, what's better than that? What is better than that? I absolutely love seeing stuff like that. I also love seeing when, kids get a souvenir, teenagers. Like, you want to see somebody raised right. Watch this kid, Phillies fan.
How about this? This foul ball is in the stands. That young dude picked it up. Great reaction. There was a little girl that dove for it. I don't think he realized it. So she was upset. She had cotton candy, but she was upset. How about what he does?
Come on, look at the mom's like, you don't have to do that. Look at that kid. Like, that's raised right. That's good stuff. Ironic that it's from a Phillies fan, but whatever. It's kids. It's kids. An adult Phillies fan wouldn't have done that, would they? But I love seeing that. Now, we also do see some gross things at the ballpark. Some fans that, well, maybe we don't want to see. No, I'm not talking about the big fat dude who just starts throwing up all over himself. I'm talking about this guy making headlines in New York. What's he doing? He's hollowing out the hot dog with his straw. And what's he doing? He's picking up the beer. He puts the homemade hot dog straw into the beer, starts drinking it. Listen, Adam Bernard thinks this guy needs the Nobel Prize for physics. I can't even imagine hollowing out a ballpark dog and drinking my beer through a hot dog straw. That kind of makes me want to vomit. I'm not going to lie. But this dude, I mean, listen, it's funny shit like this that you see at the ballpark, that you see in the stands, that you got to appreciate. You always have to appreciate it. So, I'll give this guy his due. I will say that it is probably one of the grossest things I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if I do. And listen, you know me. I'm not shy about the food that I eat. I'm not shy about the beer that I drink. And that, mixing the two like that, I don't know if I could do that. Now, another video here. This is also a huge favorite of mine because this kid here, the other kid with the switcheroo was slick, but watch this kid. Steals the soccer ball, jumps into the stands, and then the fans help usher this kid out. Like, that, to me, absolutely fantastic. I almost need a replay of that one here, Adam. Can I get a replay of that? Because watch this kid come running off the field. It is absolutely fantastic here. Come on. We can do it. We can do it. Fan of myself. I am a fan of myself. All right. Well, hang on. We'll get it there. Because, I mean, this is like, I've never seen this in a soccer match before. I've seen people like run onto the field and hug. Here he goes. See? He jumps off the field, throws the ball into the stands, gets the ball back from somebody, and look at the crowd help him out. That was, I mean, I'm going to go with a little chef's kiss on that note there. That, to me, was unbelievable. Unflippin' believable. I think I got one more video for you because, I mean, let's face it. When you're going to a game and you're people watching, you better be people watching first and foremost because that's part of the fun. Okay, if you bring your kids, you got to watch your kids and you got to like deal with. But go do a little people watching while you're sitting there in the stands, because you watch some absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's do the dance cam here. Let's do the dance cam. We got this guy here kind of boogieing around, right? Oh, he's taking it to the stairs. Oh, there you go. Look at that. This dude, spent the night at the club. Oh, look, he brings a kid in on it. The kid starts dancing. He's wearing his Nittany Lions gear. They're bopping, they're moving, they're grooving. This guy, I don't even know with the scarf. He is just having a grand old time. Yeah, see, Hal's saying it right there. Love the positivity. And I do. I think that Kev, was that you? Was that which one was you, Kev? I kind of feel like Kev Tompkins in the house, everybody. I kind of feel like, Kev, you might be more of like the hot dog straw and the beer kind of guy than you are like a dance cam kind of guy. But I gotta tell you, man, like that, like it's that stuff there that really gets me going. Like that really is the stuff that it's exciting. All right. I mean, I know that I've spoken out against the fights that happen in stadiums, and I don't want to focus on the negativity. I don't want to focus on the stress. I don't want to focus on the anger. I want to focus on how much fun it is to go to an actual game. I know it's super expensive. These teams do not make it easy on us. The league doesn't make it easy on us. But when you do go, it should be about having that good time. It should be about the fun. It should be about the excitement. So if you're sitting there and you're going to a football game, you're going to a basketball season starts up on the 24th, right? So all of that stuff there, just when you go, just be sure to have a good time. Don't get all messed up. Don't just have fun. You can't take this too seriously. Like, we see that, when you see people in the stands arguing about what's going on, like that's not something that you want. That's not something that you need. You need somebody like Hal. I'm the guy who starts the dancing and or karaoke. People see me do it and are like, wow, if that dude can embarrass himself that much, I can try. Hal, I feel the exact same way. I'm not the guy who like gets up and kind of like does the boogie and stuff like that. I'm not the guy who gets up and starts the wave because Adam Bernard will punch me in the face. He doesn't want to, he doesn't like people who start the wave. But like thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. But it's about having the fun. It's about having the good time. Whether you're going there with some friends, whether you're going there with your significant other, whether you're bringing your entire family there, it's sports, guys. It's sports. It's all about having a good time. And that's where I'm at. So here we go. What I want to do now is I'm going to bring in our guest. Now, you guys might know him from CBS Sports Digital, the Pick Six podcast. CBS is, I love this podcast. I listen to this on the regular. Listen, I met Will. Will and I know each other. Well, we haven't met in person, actually. We've met online, right? He was sitting there on Tinder and just swiping right and swiping right and swiping right. And he saw me and he tried to go left, but he had to go right. Well, here we go. So from CBS Sports Digital, the Pick Six podcast, and a competitor of mine in a fantasy football. Look at him. It's Will Brinson, everybody. What's up, Will?
What's up, Howard? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me. Good to talk to you,
dude. Super stoked to have you here, man. Absolute pleasure. This is, listen, we were just talking about the positivity at stadiums. I was showing all these videos of all the great fan moments and stuff like that. Let me ask you this. The whole buzz that went on this past week with Merrianne Do, the Chargers fan that everybody keeps accusing of being a plant. Where do you stand on that?
I think the Chargers are smart enough not to plant a fan. They'd be like, well, I say that. I guess I look at the AFC West, right? And you think, oh, these teams are good and they're smart. But then Sean Payton takes a job with the Broncos, even though you're in the division with Patrick Mahomes like twice a year, and Justin Herbert twice a year. And then the Chargers, it's like, you're really going to plant a fan when Taylor Swift is at like your biggest rivals game? Like, really? You're trying to go head to head with T Swift by planting Merrianne Do as like a huge like viral like a Chargers fan that goes viral? And I think part of it is you're I mean, I love conspiracies, so I'm willing to like buy into the idea that there's a plant, especially when they're playing the Cowboys, and it's like you could hear it when what was it I guess the final interception, or maybe the Michael Parsons sack. It was like just outrageously loud, but from the Cowboys fans who are clearly taking over SoFi Stadium. And so if you're like a Chargers PR person or like a Chargers exec, you may want people to think that there's like diehard Chargers fans. I'm actually a recovered Chargers fan. I don't know if you know that. Phillip Rivers, who I was at NC State when I was there, obviously drafted by the Chargers, and so everyone here was like Chargers fans forever, which was really like, it's like, oh, that's cool. I didn't think that I could pick a team that was capable of losing games in more amazing fashion than NC State, and then wow, lo and behold, maybe Phil dragged some of that NC State bleep out to LA or out to San Diego. So I buy into the idea, but I also think the Chargers probably aren't smart enough to like actually plant a fan in the stands.
I'm willing to just kind of believe the fact that they did not plant anybody, that she is genuine, and I'm okay with it. Like, I get everybody's naturally skeptical, but I just, for me, I'm gonna be that guy who just suspends the skepticism and just kind of enjoys what we've got going on here. So
now I got two questions here, and these will sort of dovetail into the Chargers question, and it's related. So like the Taylor Swift conspiracies. Have you heard about like these at all? Like have you heard about the jet conspiracy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've heard all that. Listen, so my producer on the Fantasy Alarm Show is the biggest Swiftie. So
Really?
I know everything. I know,
Right.
as far as like where she's going to show up, the fact that if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, she's supposed to be in Tokyo at that point. Like, there is a whole lot going on here. What's your take?
Well, so I think it's fascinating. So like, it's the Walt Disney Frozen theory that I'd never heard before, where before Frozen came out, if you Googled Walt Disney Frozen, the only thing that popped up was like Walt Disney's Frozen head. So like, instead of naming it like the Ice Princess or something like that, they named it Frozen. The conspiracy theory is they named it Frozen to eradicate all Google searches of Walt Disney's Frozen head. The same thing as the Taylor Swift thing, that she would like, before if you Google Taylor Swift jets, it was like Taylor Swift is ruining the environment with her private jets. And now you Google Taylor Swift, or then for like 2 weeks you Google Taylor Swift jets, and it's like Taylor Swift will Taylor Swift be at the Jets game? And then now it's like you Google Taylor Swift jets, it's like, did Taylor Swift go to the Jets game to cover up her usage of private jets? Like the conspiracy. I say this like I'm only like into this in the same way I'm into the Chargers fan conspiracy, in the same way that I'm like, the Charlie Day, he's like Pepe Silva when he's like on the chalkboard, the GIF.
Yeah, the GIF, and he's like,
that's me with Phish set list. I am like I am the king of like Phish set list conspiracy theories, to the point like that GIF gets sent out on our Phish text thread, like the local guys here in Raleigh every time. When the Sunday night show in Chicago this past week, I was like, it's like everything is hollow. And everything with that was like, and now it's like only one word songs. What's going on here? I guess I'm going to have to take my set list supplements and see if I can really bore down into what the conspiracy theory is. Now sometimes I end up being right. Like I think we got like on the Backwards Down the Numberline show, like when they did all the number, but like most of the time it's like everything is hollow and you're an idiot for trying to lean into this,
Well, it's really kind of funny because so first and foremost here, for everybody out there who doesn't know, the way Will and I actually originally connected, it was our friend Ben Heisler who was putting together this fantasy draft of Phish songs. And so he grabbed like a bunch of us sports heads, right? And who were totally into Phish. And we did this 12-team draft where we drafted all these Phish songs.
And there was like heat back and forth during this draft chat where it's like you took lizards early and you were like, what are you doing? And then when it lizards, it was lizards, right?
Oh, it was lizards. So that's how we ended up staying connected. So we got into this YouTube, not YouTube, a Twitter chat room, and we're all in there. And like, so as we're on this podcast and we're picking our songs and we're naming them and stuff like that. Yeah. Like one of my last picks was Lizards, which is a classic Gamehenge Phish song, like old school. If you know Phish, then you know how old Lizards is. It's part of that original thesis that Trey did. And now, meanwhile, these guys are like, they're like, I don't know, they're like improperly touching themselves, talking about songs like Destiny Unbound and Lushington, a song that morons are chasing for 35 years still, right? That wasn't you. That was I think that was Eric Edholm, wasn't that?
I think it was Edholm, yeah. And who like I'm like Googling. If I'm looking all over the place, I'm Googling to try and find the actual the Phish set list. Like, because I think like I don't know if he like wrote an article about it, but there's definitely a podcast about it. But yeah, Edholm and I have hung out at the Combine before, and like sort of talked about like Phish, and like there's like there's always just like, it is like, it was the phrase like we are everywhere. Like it's like you can find this. There's this undercurrent of like Phish fans inside of like basically every industry you go to. It's just a question of can you figure out which ones they are, and like some are hiding in a little more like plain disguise than others, right? Like
so as we're like doing this, and we'll find the podcast, I'll try and tweet it out so that we can get it. We'll hit up Ben Heisler and ask him for that link. But so these guys are like, going bonkers over these like rando tunes that they're never ever going to hear again. I give a classic tune, which also happens to be my wife's favorite, and I get crickets from this group. So I've kind of kept the theme alive here because I keep tabs on that little chat, because every time Phish plays Lizards and it's a big show and it's a webcast, I just go into the chat and I tell everybody to go fuck themselves. I know I'm not allowed to say that word here, but you know what? I'm going to, because that's how I felt with these guys. So I did that. But here you go. Now there's a little bit of a controversy here between our Shakedown Fantasy Football League. Will, I didn't know if you know this, but Joe Fortinbras, who's also in this, so I started a deadhead league. Right. And it's all deadheads, and I want, we wanted it to be competitive. And I will say that Chris Kuroda was the guy who helped me. He was like, "Hey, this
is our Shakedown league that you're explaining to them, right?" Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, Chris was like, "We should do a deadhead league or whatever." I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm totally into that, blah, 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 blah. And we do that. Well, Joe Fortinbras, who's, in the league also, was on the radio, I guess, last week. And he starts talking about how he's in this league with all of these sports guys, these, football dudes, and talking jam bands, and that Chris Kuroda's in the league. So I run a league called the Jam On Fantasy Football League.
Which is like the XM radio station, I presume, right?
Right. And that was the original one where it's like, it's me and Kuroda and Wischusen and Adam Zucker is in it. Right?
Love Zucker. Yeah, Zucker's like because Zucker works at CBS Sports, obviously. And he's like, I remember seeing him at the NFL Honors one year, and he's like, "Dude, you're a Phish fan too, right?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah."
So all of a sudden, they heard Joe on the radio. Wischusen heard Joe on the radio, and all of a sudden, our group chat on text from the Jam On Fantasy Football League blew up. I was being accused of pimping Kuroda around the industry. And they're all jealous now. Now I'm thinking that we just combine this into a giant,
I love it.
24 team, like, champions play at the tail end of it.
Oh, like a Champions League style. So, because it's like, is it like Ari Fink or like somebody or Jonathan? One of those guys is in. I mean, they're probably several.
They're both in it. Yeah, they're both.
So, like, one of my buddies, like, like I said, I have a Phish text thread here. It's like all like just, and there's a couple dudes who don't live in Raleigh, but it's like mostly like a close circle of friends. And I was like, yeah, this is the draft, by the way. I found the link to it. Nice. I was like, by the way, just so you guys know, I just got into a fantasy league with Kuroda. They're like, what? One of them was like, dude, I just heard Ari Fink talking about your fantasy league on Jam On. I was like, no, I think it's a different one. I think Kuroda's in like 7 fantasy leagues, like around, because he's a junkie.
Oh, he's beyond a junkie. I mean, he's doing Scott Fishbowl. I'm doing like 5 or 6 different leagues
by
with
the
Chris
way,
alone.
look at this four Chalk Dust, Down Disease, Sneaking Sally, and Slow Llama. I mean, what a friggin' that's a banger. You got
Dude, that
Slade,
doesn't even come
Blizzard,
close to
Dorito.
my team. Look at my team there. Look at
Yeah,
that.
it's outstanding. It's outstanding.
Please.
Washington, yeah. See, like I take it too when we're doing this draft. Is like I want songs like I want to hear. You know, like I'm not chasing anything. Like, but I want like if I catch like a, yeah, I mean like all like Slow Llama they played Raleigh. They played Raleigh several times, which is like I always love when they slow it down. I love Llama. And then like I mean Chalk Dust, Disease, and Sally. I mean please, like that's just you play those three at a show, and I'm coming away very happy.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. All right. What's the go-to song? What's like, I'll explain this. Carini. I had a dream in the late 90s that I was playing for the Yankees, and it was my head superimposed on the body of a vintage Jason Giambi. And Bob Shepard announces my name. I take a step out of the dugout, and as I'm walking to the home plate, dragging my bat behind me like I'm a Neanderthal, and Carini starts up. And that's been my jam.
So Carini would be your go-to walkout song. Like,
what's yours?
That's a good question. So I don't think it would be either one. The one song that didn't get drafted that I probably would have added to, and like I'm not saying that this is like I don't think it's a walkout song. Would be The Wedge. Like I'm a big Wedge guy. But I mean, I think, God, I always love I think Chalk Dust would probably be the answer, just because I love I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm cool with like the slow it down. Like I like Dark Phish, I like Dark Evil Phish, you know, the long deep change, but you get that with Disease and Chalk Dust. But like Chalk Dust, and even like Kill Devil Falls is like Chalk Dust is like little baby that Chalk Dust doesn't want to admit it has, you know, like it's like little bastard baby. Like it's just like the like just coming out with a very quick like riff like that. I think Chalk Dust is right there. I mean, definitely Tweezer obviously would work. Carini too. Like when you hear that the just like it's coming. You're like yes. Like Get Evil. Like go like 20 minutes and real dark and real red and then real blue. Like yeah. So I think all of those definitely qualify. 2001 too would work. I actually might have drafted if this. I mean, like, I probably 2001 would absolutely qualify too. Man, there's a lot of them.
Listen, man, the jams in there are just absolutely amazing, right? I mean, the opening song, the opening to the Fantasy Alarm Show on Sirius XM, it's Tweezer Reprise. I remember. Do you remember when it was the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl and Ving Rhames did the open and they did it to Tweezer Reprise for the Falcons?
Was that because that was on Fox, right?
Yeah.
So do you know Jake Jolly?
Joe Carpenter or Jake Jolly? Which one?
Yeah, Jake Jolly. I mean, I don't know Joe Carpenter. I know Jake Jolly just through online, right? Like talking about Twitter, but it's like, yeah, I mean, like the ability to, and I guess I think is Joe Carpenter the bigger Panic fan? Is he a big Panic fan too, or is it one of them's a big Panic fan? Like big widespread Panic fan, because they've been playing widespread Panic.
Oh yeah. He'll throw everything in there.
Oh, I heard the Dead last night going to commercial. I heard like the Dead in back-to-back commercials. Yeah, but it's amazing to me that like Fox is like, and I was actually thinking about this last night randomly, because like I always tweet like if I hear like Phish or Panic or the Dead on Fox, or like if NBC plays something I really like, during a football game, it's like, and I feel it's occurred to me that I never tweet like anything nice about the CBS music guys, because it's like CBS like with the idea of like CBS playing like Panic going to like commercial during the Super Bowl, or like Phish during an intro to the Super Bowl is like so far-fetched and just would never happen, just because of like the different ways in which the networks operate, I think. But like I don't know, I was randomly thinking about that, how like I wish I worked like directly with somebody who wanted to like had like control of being able to play like the Dead going to commercial break during like the World Series, which is just wild.
Yeah, I mean, when I first, when it all started going down or whatever, and I ended up like doing some research, and I actually found Joe Carpenter about all of that. And I brought him onto the show because I mean, it was such a great, funny thing, you know. And again, like for you people out there, it doesn't, I mean, for us, it's Phish, it's the Dead, it's the jam band music. But when you like hear something that you like immediately attach yourself to, like it changes like the entire thing. And so
the broadcast.
It totally changes the broadcast. Yeah. Now you're actually like paying attention to bumper music, which you've never done before.
Right.
And Joe was, I guess I texted him, you know, there's a couple of broadcasts after his appearance on the show. And I texted him and he sent me a screenshot. He took a picture of his board. Yeah. Of the set list, basically.
That's sick.
And I was like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever.
Well, you sometimes you'll hear like Joe Buck. I mean, obviously before he went to ESPN, but like I remember one. It was like they played some Sturgill Simpson. He's like, "There's some Sturgill going to the break too." So it's like these guys hear it, and like you have to think like Joe Buck, like Troy Aikman is like, what do you think Troy Aikman is like? These guys are playing a damn jam band again. He's like playing these hippies in the music thing. You know the other entity that is like riddled with Phish and like jam band fans is NFL Films. I mean, which like, I mean, you obviously know, yeah. I mean, like
so
like,
Chris Weaver, Chris Weaver did the whole Phish with
Trey.
He was actually on this show a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
We talked about he's in the Jam On League. We talked about like him and you know the whole Wilson chant thing. But then I'm sure you saw it, right? Bob Wischusen on Phish Radio asked Trey who he would be starstruck by.
And he's like Trey, Nick Mangini or Nick Mangold. Nick Mangold, not Mangini. Yeah, Nick Mangold. Yeah.
So and so it turned into a whole thing there, and Weaver does all the production for that, and he brings the jam band heat to it as well.
So I was I'm looking at this is like I don't know. Don't ask me why. I saw this the other day, but like in my photos, you know, I mean, we're not spring chickens, but like one of the earliest photos in my on my phone, it like deletes all these older photos. For some reason, it hasn't deleted the photo I took of my television at like 2 a.m. on July 27th, 2013, which is we were up like I was up watching the Phish play at the Gorge, and Trey comes out and opens up I think it was the second. I don't know if they played Wilson, but he came out in a Russell Wilson Seahawks jersey.
Yeah, and
I was like, oh my God. I was like, worlds are like, at this point, like NC State fans were still like claiming Russell Wilson. Now we're like, no, it's Wisconsin Russell Wilson. But it's like it was like just worlds colliding. So I was like, I'm writing about this, and I was like, I can kind of have carte blanche to just do what I want. Like, I mean, like I'll send it to an editor, they'll publish it, but they're not going to like question it. I may not even had an editor. I may even had to like run it by an editor, just like wrote it and published it. But I definitely wrote a story about on CBSSports.com, and I think it's like because of the way we changed like the back end systems or whatever, it's like a bunch of those older posts have been deleted. But then like, you know, I wrote the story, and the next day, I can't remember what day it was, but like my boss gets in our like, you know, campfire or Slack chat or whatever. He's like, dude, this story about Phish is blowing up. It's exploding. He's like, the traffic is through the roof. It's like been posted on like Fantasy Tour or like some like other message boards, and then all of a sudden it's like there's this huge spike in the traffic, and like somebody texts me like, dude, and Trey had tweeted out the link, and then he was just like Wilson ! And then like CBSSports.com, and I was like, well, that's cool. I can retire now in 2013 because my it's like it's not going to get any better than this, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, you peaked in 2013.
Right. Peaked in 2013. Yeah. Had my son in 2014. Hey, son, I know you were born in 2014, but Dad peaked in 2013. Bad news,
right, I peaked in 2013, had you, and it's been downhill ever since then.
That's right. You didn't get me any Trey tweets, pal.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, listen, this is, you know, so this is what we do, people. This is like how we all find each other. This is, I mean, to me, this is what the fantasy sports world is all about. Like bringing all this together. Like where else are we going to be able to like put together a league where it's like top sports guys in the industry, right? And all we're doing is geeking out on music. We're not even, we had our chat in the Shakedown Fantasy League exploded after, I think it was you who posted the picture of the Chicago Bulls logo that Chris Kuroda did at the Chicago shows last weekend.
Well, it's like insane because it's like, so a buddy had texted my local friend Phish showed. He's like, check it out. Like, he did the Bulls like logo. I was like, oh my God, you're right. I was like, I'm going to send this to the Shakedown chat. I posted it in there. And it was like, and then Corona was like, yeah, I sort of felt like he's like, I told Howard I was going to do that. And then like, he freaked out. It was like, I think it's so fascinating. I mean, like, obviously I assume there's like a fairly large Venn diagram of people who like the band, like, are listening to this or whatever. But like, I think it's so fascinating that like, and I was trying to, because I was like telling my buddy, I was like anyway, we're watching the Phish show. It was like somebody who's not like a huge Phish fan, and sort of explaining like how Kuroda works like within the context of the band, because he is just a band member. Like, is it, like, that's like he's the fifth band member in terms of like, if you look at, and I think it's, if you go to I went to like a Little Feat show, or like even if you go to a Widespread Panic show, and I love Panic, like I'm a huge Panic fan, but like you go to either one of their shows and you're there at the show and you're like, these lights are incredibly basic. Like they don't do, like Little Feat had like the backdrop and like the swirling, like, the old Allman Brothers. You go to the Allman Brothers, like when they got back together, and like the
the
late
screen
90s,
with the magic mushrooms on.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It's basically like they throw mushrooms up every like 30 seconds, and then they'd have like psychedelic stuff swirling around it. And then like you go to these Phish shows these days, and Kuroda is basically operating the Death Star. Like, he is like the way in which like I was down front, pretty close down front for the Raleigh show last summer, and I was looking up and I was like, holy F, like this, like these like there's some of these lights I can't see because they're extending, they're out, and like they are so like, it is so insane how and intricate and complex, and to like operate that like along with Phish's music, like he obviously knows like what songs are available, like what he might be dealing with, like what jams he's gonna see, like that's how long he's done this, like he's on the same pages, and that's sort of what I mean by the fifth member. But it's like, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna toss a little Bulls logo in here too. It's like, it's wild how complex it is when you really start to dive into like that kind of like that side of what the shows are about.
So go back a few weeks, because Kuroda was here on the show as well.
Yeah.
And he did like a whole thing where he was explaining the physics behind the moving rig and how the light also needs to move with the rig in order to stay on the band member where it is. And he starts explaining all of that. And all I'm thinking is, oh my God, I can't wait till I get into the sphere with this guy.
Dude, okay, so what's people would ask me like, hey, you need to do your homework. You need to find out what the deal with Kuroda in the sphere is. Like, will he? Because there's like some thought where it's like, oh well, it's it's not lighting per se. It's like it's the panels or whatever. But then as somebody else points out, it's like Chris is like he works fairly closely with MSG. Like like he does
MSG hired him to revamp all the lights in the garden, so that when you go into a Phish show at Madison Square Garden, and he did it at the Chase Center too, and there are a couple of other places in the works for that also, it becomes this immersive experience. Like, I don't know if you saw the videos of Madison Square Garden when they did the whales and the dolphin drones.
Yeah.
So I was in there at that. If you looked up and around, it gave you the image that you were like at the bottom of this aquarium. So he had everything done that way.
Well, and like, because he do the lighting designs for like the Knicks and the Rangers.
Does the Knicks, the Rangers, does the Warriors?
Yeah.
Like, he did the Mavericks a couple of years ago.
But the point being is, like, if you do the designs for the Knicks and the Rangers, who's and Jimmy Dolan builds a giant insane sphere out in Las Vegas. Like, I mean, that's my question. Is like he was probably involved in that project to a degree, right? And like, it's going to have some sort, like, are we worried about the health of Phish fans? Like, and like,
oh,
like you get this.
My wife's not going to be able to go to the sphere. Like we've been talking about that because she gets vertigo triggered real
Really?
easily for her.
Yeah, no chance, dude. Like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
yeah,
that's
like,
what
yeah.
I was like. Well, if you do want to go, you're just going to have to sit the entire time and like put on these like blue blocker glasses or something like that.
Right.
But
But I mean, in other words, like the answer to the question is like Corona will have like an insane ability to do things like that we haven't possibly thought of with the sphere, right?
I have no knowledge of what goes on inside the sphere.
Okay, me either. I was curious.
No, I mean, like I know what's like. I see the videos and stuff like that. But
was that a winking no knowledge, or was that no knowledge?
This is if you want to talk about somebody who keeps everything close to the vest,
Really?
even to his like to his good friends, it's him.
Really?
He won't. I never ask. I mean, we've known each other for you know a while now, and I never ask anything about it. It's just like whatever.
You never be like, hey, when are the Hampton shows? Like he's like, dude, come on, like he's like, hey, when should I book a hotel in Hampton? It's like don't ask you that, right? Like,
no, I listen. I kind of roll with the punches. I'm out here in California, so it's like I'll go back for New Year's at the Garden or whatever. But I mean, I choose because you know what? I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know. I want to walk into a show and just boom, get hit.
I know. If you knew, like, it would be a little different, I guess, because you can't really gamble on Phish. But like, if you knew the results for an NFL week before you started watching the football, it wouldn't be nearly as exciting. Well,
the NFL scripted. We already know what's going to happen.
Oh, that's right. That's true. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They did script out that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift would start dating, and then, by the way, like from a strictly financially, like personally financially selfish motivation reasons, she better be at the Chargers Chiefs game on Sunday. She's been to an ESPN game, a Fox game, an NBC game. Hey, Taylor, we want our ratings. We're going to send Jim and Tony there. You better show up too. Travis will be there. Brittany will be in the box. You better be there too. Everyone will be at Arrowhead, apparently.
Oh, my God. Man, Will Brinson. Oh, dude, I'm so glad that you came here. There's so much I want to talk to you about. And I know that we're going to be running short on time because I know you got to get on out of here. Give me like a full rundown for everybody out here, the Pick Six podcast. And then I've got a very important question to ask you after your promo, what you doing?
Yeah, so I got all the writing up on CBSSports.com, at Twitter and Instagram at Will Brinson, the Pick Six Pod. We do it five episodes a week, maybe more if we have an emergency podcast. For some reason, they're still letting me do every one, host some, analyze on some. We got a picks show coming up actually in like 13 minutes. But go subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcast.
There you go. Now, my big question here is I've been to your X bio, and I need to know the very punchable face comment. Was that something somebody said to you or something that you just accept?
Well, no. So, okay, that's a good question. No, I actually promote very punchable face. As it turns out, I didn't realize this, and I need to get on my lawsuit horse and sue him. But Colin Jost of SNL actually wrote a book called Very Punchable Face. And I'm fairly certain that he stole that phrase from me, although I do think I will say this, Howard, this is probably 2017 or 2018, and someone online replied to something I said, like a football take, and said, "You look like a thumb." And I haven't recovered. I never recovered from it. I haven't shaved since. I was like, I went in the mirror, I went in the bathroom, I was like, oh crap. I kind of do look like a thumb. I was like, I'm not cutting my hair and I'm not shaving for the rest of the time. It's like, because you can't be a thumb if you have a beard, right? But no beard, like in the middle of like football season, we get a little thicker because you quit exercising. It's like week 13, and you're just like too tired to exercise. I'm like, damn, I do look like a thumb. This sucks. So very punchable. I try to get out of being punched by telling people I have a very punchable face. It's sort of like a deflector. Former notary, very punchable face is the highlights of my career.
All right, well, whose face is more punchable now, yours or Daniel Jones, who's got that "do you know who my father is" vibe about him?
Daniel Jones, much more punchable, although I feel like when his eyes go like when he does that little weird, like, oh, he's like, and you're like, all right, like, I'm not going to punch that guy. Like, I mean, sure, he clearly went to Duke, and yeah, I would say Daniel Jones much more punchable face than me.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. So we put together, my producer, Adam Bernard, and I, when we text back and forth who the guests are, we kept getting auto-corrected. And for a while there, I think we were talking about Charles Bronson being on the show. So here you go.
Yeah.
Will, the question is, it's Brinson or Bronson? And now the question is who's got the more punchable face from
Brinson
the
or
movie?
Bronson?
So we got a little broadcast here for you here. A little intro.
It's about your face, but I want to deliver one of these right in your suck hole.
Is there anything I can do to work on that?
No,
so you
not
wouldn't-
really. It's your face. But if you don't change your face, I'm going to change it for you.
Okay. All I can do is take that in and consider it, and I'll just try to do my best version of whatever I think that would be.
I don't even hear what you're saying right now because your face is driving me
Okay.
nuts.
All right, here you go. Will, are you ready? Here's your first question. Whose face is more punchable? Is it Michael Parks, who played Tommy O'Shea in Death Wish 5, or Will Brinson?
I would say mine. I think you're more likely to punch my face. I feel safer about punching my face than Michael Parks. Michael Parks is he might shiv you if you punch him.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'll punch you through here if you say one more bad thing about the song Lizards. I'll tell you that.
I like Lizards. By the way,
Here's
I like
your
that,
next
I like
one.
that little Nintendo riff too.
From Death Wish 4, John P. Ryan as Nathan White or Will Brinson?
I think Nathan White may be more punchable. He looks like he's going to be a little snootier than I am.
Gavin O'Herlihy, who played Manny Fraker in Death Wish 3, or you, Will?
You're not punching Gavin O'Herlihy. Like he punches you. You don't punch him. Like me, much more punchable.
All right, here we go. From Death Wish 2, Lawrence Fishburne or Will Brinson? Who's more punchable?
I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, those glasses are pretty punchable. Like, you're like, all right, when maybe Matrix Lawrence Fishburne, I'm not punching, but like Death Wish 2, Lawrence Fishburne, I think I'm going more punchable. Although I don't know. I'm telling you, like that photo of me, they could have done some Photoshop on my neck there. It's like, but I think maybe I'm more punchable. That was a dogfight, 50-50.
All right, last one here now from the original Death Wish. Jeff Goldblum is week number 1, or you, Will? Who's more punchable?
Jeff Goldblum, infinitely more punchable than me, Howard. In every aspect of his career, Jeff Goldblum, infinitely more punchable than me.
Jeff Goldblum, who's perfected this move. He loves doing this in every movie that he does. Well, Will, I say thank you so much for being here. Congrats on being part of the 2023 inaugural Punchable Face Hall of Fame.
Oh, right. Oh, look at that. That's a good list.
You're with like the classic people here.
The Farmer Bro, LeVar Ball, Brad Marchand, the Pet Boys, Machine Gun Kelly, and me. The inaugural Punchable Face Hall of Fame. That is fantastic.
Well, man, I know you got to go do your Pick Six podcast. Thank you so much again for being here, man. It's always a pleasure to get to sit and hang with you. We got to talk more outside of the sports world.
Yeah, let's hopefully maybe hang around New Year's Eve, and we'll catch up soon, man. This is awesome, Howard. Thanks, buddy. Do it again anytime.
Oh, thanks for being here. Will Brinson, right. Follow him on Twitter at Will Brinson. Listen to the Pick Six podcast on CBS Sports Digital. Dude, such a great guy. And seriously, like, listen to the Pick Six podcast. It's very, very cool. This guy, I mean, knows his shit. So if you're like looking for like betting picks and things like that, game breakdowns, boom. Absolutely love it. Love it. Everything that he does here. So big thank you to Will Brinson. Let's wrap things up here as we always do on the old Getting Buzz show. Yeah, it's my final 5. It's 5 shows to binge watch after the NFL season. These are all shows I haven't seen. They've all been recommended to me. And so as soon as the Super Bowl is done, this is what I'm diving into. Number 5, Game of Thrones. I promise I'm going to be watching it with my wife, not my sister, because I hear that gets a little weird. But Game of Thrones, dragons, incest, I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Number 4, how about Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? I might have to do both. Will actually says to me that Better Call Saul is actually better than Breaking Bad. You guys can use, whatever you want to determine that, but that's what's coming up next for me. Number 3, The Boys. A lot of people talk to me about this. Listen, I was a comic book junkie when I was growing up. I have a collection of books. People are like, it's a superhero show, but it's got kind of a darkness to it. So you want to check that out. So I'm in on that one there. Number 2, I don't normally do the scary stuff, but I was told The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix is something I need to see, that it's more suspense and gross than it is like jump out of your seat scary. I don't know. That picture right there immediately turns me off from it. So I'm going to have words with the person who recommended that one to me, because that one makes it look like I'm going to piss my pants watching that one there. And then finally, the number 1, here you go. Baby, give me the Squid Game. People in debt doing like outlandish contests and games and stuff like that to compete for these ridiculous cash prizes to pull. Like, what would you do to get out of that debt? I kind of feel like that's something I want in. Sure, I could sit there and hope to bink a GPP during the football season, which that's coming. I'm telling you, that's coming. Or I can try and compete for these like ridiculous prizes. I might go Wheel of Fortune before Squid Game personally, but it kind of intrigues me on that front. So there you have it, folks. Big thank you to all of you for tuning in here. Again, this ain't your normal sports show, and I know it ain't your normal sports show. You should want it to not be your normal sports show. Coming up next, me, Andrew Cooper, we're on Alarm Fantasy Football. Get your fantasy football week 7 start sits in now. That's where I'm headed. Thank you to Adam Bernard for everything that he does here on the show. Thank you so much to Will Brinson for joining me. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in. I'm Howard Bender. This has been Getting Buzzed. We'll catch you next time.